What up, everyone? Welcome back to Blade Bias. I spent a little more than a week, let's be honest, with the Prisma Pro, and it made me a better flipper. Genuinely. The Prisma Pro might be, actually, forget might be, it is one of my favorite trainers on the market, and quite possibly, I would say, one of the best price-to-performance ratios that you can get in the sub even $300 range. This thing is truly astonishing in almost every way, and I am so excited about the Prisma Pro and just Dalen stuff in general. So first we'll talk about why the Prisma Pro made me a better flipper, and then I'll go over a more kind of standard I spent a week with video about the Prisma Pro. So I'm someone who hasn't really cared about getting better at flipping. You know, I am good enough to evaluate a balisong, chaplains, choker fans, rollovers, etc. I'm good enough to say, hey, I can feel what's going on here. I know what I like. I know what I don't like, etc. You know? But I've never really cared about getting better. It never really stuck in my brain that I was like, I'm going to be some crazy flipper. Because most of my free time was dedicated to making content. It's what I enjoyed far more. It's what I enjoyed far more than just sitting down and putting time into learning new tricks and all that. But the Prisma Pro has changed all of that. Now, I don't want to snuff my, or I don't want to downplay my excitement of the Sliff T, because the Sliff T was the same way for me when I first got it. And that hasn't changed. It's still really exciting. But the Sliff T for me has been a balisong that has allowed me to flip a live blade confidently again. It cleaned up my flipping to the point where I can do my entire trick repertoire on the live blade without worrying about getting cut or anything like that. Like, it's all there because of the Sliff T. I just really, really enjoy flipping it. It's a really good live blade. It fits my preferences. Maybe not perfectly, but good enough to the point where I was able to get to a point where I could flip a live blade confidently again. It was great. But learning new tricks, it didn't really help with, because I don't like learning new tricks on a live blade. I like smoothing out the tricks on a live blade, because obviously if you get cut, you know what you have to work on, but I don't like learning on it. And that's where the Prisma Pro comes in. Because the Prisma Pro I see as my Sliff T, but in a trainer form. It fits my preferences actually almost perfectly. Whereas the Sliff T might not fit it perfectly, I think the Prisma kind of does, to the point of, like, if we're talking balance and balance alone, I prefer the Prisma Pro to the Sliff T a little bit, just because the Sliff T still has a decent amount of handle bias to it. Maybe the Opus blade will change that, we'll see. Whereas the Prisma Pro is basically, like, I don't call too many things in this hobby dead neutral, because dead neutral is very subjective. But to me, without the weights, this thing feels dead neutral. And then you put the weights in, you get that little bit of momentum in the end of the handles, and you get that handle bias that allows learning tricks to be easier. Because when you learn new tricks, generally handle bias is a little bit easier to learn on, especially for beginners, but I digress. So this has allowed me to just kind of flip for fun and throw things that I wouldn't do on a live blade. Aerials, double scissors, giraffes. Let's see if I can... There we go, double scissor right there. I don't have the giraffe down just yet, but I have all the pieces. I just have to smooth it out. I've been doing this little, like, fan transfer from the Valorant combo. Aerial transfers between my two hands. Flipping in my left hand, which normally doesn't look that clean or really good at all, is to a point where I'm like, yeah, I can do that pretty easily. There's a double scissor, just on the wrong hand. So it's allowed me to just learn new tricks at a pace that I really haven't before, and get a more interesting flipping style from a flipping style that I was already pretty happy with. So it's kind of the perfect gateway of learning with the Sliff T. Machinewise in general has made me excited about flipping in a way that I haven't been before. Obviously, the fact that I have a pretty big collection of great balisongs to also flip helps a lot. If I only had the Sliff T and the Prisma Pro, I'd be very happy, don't get me wrong, but I don't think I would be as fulfilled as I have been Because while I have been flipping these a lot, coming back to this case and getting out like my Impusa or my Kuno and seeing that this, like, I'm smoother on everything because of the Slift T and the Prisma Pro is just something that has been very fun. So the collection is definitely helping a little bit with that. So yeah. But let's go over the Prisma Pro more in a vacuum. It's made me a better flipper. It's made me excited about flipping again. But how is it really? The Prisma Pro, I would say, is really just one of my favorite trainers in general because of the balance. I think the balance is one of the stronger aspects of the Prisma Pro, just being capable of so much, from handle bias tricks to blade bias tricks. The weight makes you capable of flipping it light, flipping it fast, flipping it slow. It doesn't really lose any of the flow if you flip it slow. And then if you want to go really fast, you can do that if you want, it's really fun, especially for someone like me. But also just everything else about it. For $175, you're getting Machinewise's perfect tolerances. You're getting an amazingly machined handle. Very rounded, great grip, I think. This wonderful Prisma blade that's now chamfered, so it doesn't feel like it's cutting me like the Prisma 1 used to. It's just so great, and it creates an experience that if I had to complain about anything, it would be little nitpicks, like, oh, the faces or the sides of the handles. They're just a bit too flat. There's a very jarring transition from the face or the sides of the handles to the faces, to the rounding. But like I said, that's a nitpick. Oh, these, like, the pivots kind of look a little weird. Nitpick. The aesthetics of not having the texture go all the way to the end and having this line in the middle. Nitpick. Just the overall, it's kind of more angular design. I wouldn't call it sharp by any means, like the Orion or anything like that. It's not machined badly at all. It's just a little more angular. Like, you get the feeling of those chamfers a little bit more. But again, it's a nitpick. This thing is really, really fantastic. Especially just because you get all of this, an amazing balance, an amazing machined everything, on a $175 Balisong. Cheaper than the Kraken trainer, cheaper than about the same price as the Antarctic, cheaper than some of the stuff that BB Barfly sells. Like, it is just incredible price to performance value. I would, even if someone was looking in the $250 range, I would still have no problem recommending them the Prisma Pro. I just like it that much, and I think it is just that good. I think there is a level of objective amazingness here. I wouldn't say it's Kraken levels of everyone's gonna love it, but it's great, especially with how consistent it's allowed me to be. I'm really annoyed because this is my second take of the video, and earlier I was just doing double scissors, like, with no issue. But now, of course, that I'm thinking about it, and now that I have that compare to, it's like, oh no, you're not going to do a single one. So I can't really show off the consistency. Flipping on camera is tough, which is why I'm annoyed that I lost that take. Because, I want to say I hit like 3 correct double scissors in a row. There we go. There's one. But it just allows me to be more consistent and fluid, and it's great. Now, I'm going to go into more depth in the future about the Prisma versus the Prisma Pro. But just to sum it up here, I think I prefer, if you take the flipping only, I prefer the Prisma 1 just a little bit more. It's just a little bit like, it's got that Prisma personality to it, which the Pro still has, don't get me wrong. But the Pro is definitely a more normalized version of the Prisma. It's kind of like the Calico was with the Calico 1 to the Calico 1.5. The 1.5 still had that Calico sort of charm to it, but it was still like, it was just a much more standard, better flipping experience. It didn't have as much of the weirdness. I would say to a lesser degree, that's what's going on here. It's not as obvious, but it is still there, at least to me. So flipping alone, I would pick the Prisma 1, but the Prisma Pro for me overall wins just because these handles are so comfortable. They're the perfect combination, for me at least, of the round faces with the flat sides. Because with some round designs, when you do things like double scissors, it would be very easy for the balisong to start spinning because you don't have, like, if it's round, you can't really, like, tell it which way to go this way, you know? So it will spin around a lot in your hand. That's a problem I had with the Telestro the first time that I tried it. Not really anymore, but back when I was more of a beginner flipper. And that doesn't really happen here because, again, it's why it's a nitpick. I don't really care that the sides of the handles are so flat with the jarring angle because it allows more control in things like that so that the balisong isn't spinning around in your hands when you don't want it to. But they're still round enough to make fans a absolute delight. Choker fans, fans in general, are just amazing on this thing. I love it. I love it so much. And then Chaplains, of course. So, like, the Prisma Pro wins for me, even though I think the Prisma has a balance that I prefer ever so slightly, just because it's a bit more fun. But we're talking about a very, very minor difference here. So, Prisma Pro, one of the best price to performance values on the market, in my opinion. I think these handles are going to go crazy when I put them on the Opus blade. I think the handles are going to go crazy with any live blade, but even just the trainer is really good. And the Prisma Pro has excited me about flipping in a way that I haven't been excited about in a long time. Just allowing me to do more tricks that I never really was able to do before in a consistent way, and making me want to put in the time to flip. Like, this is one of the first balisongs that when I see it laying here, I pick it up and I'm like, I can't stop flipping it. It's so great. And I'm just so happy with it. So yeah, this is my personal new favorite trainer on the market. Genuinely. Like, even the Nemesis, I don't think I would put above the Prisma Pro. So, you know, that's crazy. So good job, Dalen. Thank you legitimately for making me excited about the flipping aspect of our hobby again. Again, I never stopped flipping. I always flipped, but I never really cared about getting better till now with the Slift T and the Prisma Pro. So it's just been really great. And then, of course, the availability is amazing. You can buy these on Dalen's website at least once a week. He's coming out with them. So it's just really, really great stuff. And I think that about does it. I'm trying to think of anything that I haven't mentioned, but I think that about covers it. That's why I love the Prisma Pro so much, and that is how it made me a genuinely better flipper. Let me know if you can tell. I don't know, maybe some people will be able to tell that my flipping has gotten just a little bit better, besides the... It's kind of tough to show the newer tricks that I do because they aren't built into my muscle memory in a way that, like, I just do them without thinking, kind of like I do this combo. That's why I do this combo so much. I don't have to think about it because you can just loop it. I don't have to think about it. I can focus on talking rather than doing, like, brain power for actually flipping. Oh, you don't want to do that. But yeah, it's just been... Prisma Pro's been amazing. So yeah, I think that's going to do it. I've been ranting long enough. Thank you all for watching. Thank you to Ted for sending me the Prisma Pro and letting me use it. And I'll see you all in the next one. Later.